Alright, this is Simo. Welcome to the channel, welcome to Nova Scotia. Another beautiful day. Today we're taking a rip out to Peggy's Cove, which is one of my favourite rides around the city. So I thought you guys could come along. I think today we're going to talk about my bike a little bit and kind of why I have it, why I bought it. So let's roll that little intro and then we'll get into it, alright? Alright, Peggy's Cove. I love this ride, and I love it for this view. When you come over that hill and see the lighthouse and the ocean. Alright, if you ever find yourself in Nova Scotia, this is the quintessential day trip. Do me a favour, stay off the black rocks, unless you want to get wet and never seen again, because the tide will just take you out. But what a lovely place. It's a pretty interesting geological area. It's all granite, and as a result you get these pretty spectacular coastline. And it used to be, so that used to be a manned lighthouse, and there's still a small community of people that live out this way. Alright, it is still a legitimate village. People do still live out this way. There's not many of them, but it is still, there are still people, they do still fish. Really, really nice place. So I bought this 2022 Iron 1200, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So 2 years ago I bought this 2022 Iron 1200. And I bought it brand new off the showroom floor. So why did I buy it? Well, I'd been without a bike for probably 10 years. So when I moved to Canada, I didn't bring a bike with me. And although I'd been riding sport bikes and dirt bikes forever, I was looking for something different. I was looking to get into cruisers. The cruiser market, or the cruisers kind of passed me by where I used to live. And I was originally looking at a slightly larger bike by a different manufacturer. Alright, I had a pretty horrible experience, which I'm not going to go into. Safe to say that it happened. But then I ended up at the Harley Davidson dealership, sat on this bike among others, and I picked this one up because when I looked at what I was doing with it, when I looked at why I was buying it, it checked so many of the boxes. So why I was buying it was as a little bit of fun, but most importantly as my spring through fall daily commuter. I have a fairly short commute to work. Alright, 10-15 kilometers a day. So I don't need to be firing up my car every time. Alright, jumping on the bike in the morning is quite nice. Like I said, I live in a nice place of the world, so I can go to work, take the long way home, see stuff like this, alright, and just generally enjoy a motorbike for what it is. So I sat on a bunch of bikes, and I figured, alright, so what matches up with my commute? My commute, as I said, 10-15 kilometers, and it's mostly suburban riding. So I come out of my subdivision, take a couple of streets, pull into an industrial park, couple more streets, I'm at work. It's not that far, and it's not like there's any long open stretch of the highway. It's not a long commute or anything like that. So the bigger bikes that happened to be in the showroom at the time, the Sport Glide, the Street Glide and the Road Glide, just weren't going to work. Even if I figured, you know what, I'm going to stretch my finances, I'm going to do that, I don't know that would have been the right play. And then the other thing, I just mentioned it there, was the pricing. So the pricing of this worked very well for me. All right, it was a little bit more than I was originally looking to spend, but you know, like it or lump it, if you're going to buy a Harley Davidson, you are going to pay some amount of premium for that name. We don't have to like it, but kind of, I mean, we all accept that that's a fact. So when I looked at the options that I thought would fit me best, the Iron 1200 just really stood out. More power than the 883, better ergonomics for me, and importantly, I'm not particularly mechanically inclined, so I wanted to buy a bike that I could wrench on a little bit myself, that I could do some work on. And the Sportster obviously has been around for so long, the Sportster platform has been around for so long, there's so much aftermarket support for it, there's so much aftermarket instruction on how to do things, that it's a great test bed, it's a great learning platform for me. So that actually fed in to what I'm doing. That actually fed into my decision quite a lot. So after 2 years and 15,000 kilometers, give or take, do I still like this bike? Yes. Short answer, I love my bike. I love my bike. I think it's fantastic. For what I do with it, it is perfect. So what do I do with it? I touched on the fact that I do a short commute with it. All right. I do day trips like this. So this day trip will be, or this little ride will be between, I don't know, 60 and 70 miles. And it'll take me about an hour and a half. Yes, the suspension's not great. I have upgraded the seat. So it does this really, really well. I don't need to bring anything with me. I can get by with what's in my pockets. You know, what do I need? I need my wallet, I've got my phone on here in case I need it. In this case, I've got my Tascam, my voice recorder. But I don't need anything else. I'm only going to be out for a couple of hours. Even in Nova Scotia, I mean, we have a saying in Nova Scotia, which is if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. And it's very true. But even in Nova Scotia, I trust the forecast. If I look at it and it says it's going to be sunny for the next 2 hours, I'm pretty sure it's going to be, you know, I'm pretty sure at least it's not going to rain for the next 2 hours. So I don't have to worry about packing rain jackets and so on. And it's all roads like this. So this is a nice, what I would call a casual ride. You know, like, it's not particularly fast. The whole ride I'll be between 70 and 90 kilometers an hour. That was nice of him. So for the whole ride I'll be between 70 and 90 kilometers an hour. And because of the way the gears are spaced, I'll spend the majority of this ride in, it's a terrible road, but I'll spend the majority of this ride in either second or third gear. Right? Just because of the way the gearbox is, the gears are spaced very, very well for what I do. And it's small enough and light enough, and I say light in kind of air quotes there, that I can flick it around a little bit in stretches like that, right? What else do I do with it? Well, I do the odd longer trip. So I'll do the odd 400 to 500 kilometer journey. Again, I do apologise, I'm north of the border, so I'm not sure about what that is in freedom units. 300 miles, there or thereabouts. You know, like day trips, maybe an overnighter. And again, it's great for that. It has enough power to be comfortable on the highway. So I'm sitting in fifth gear at 110, 120 kilometers an hour. The engine feels comfortable. It's certainly not winding out. I have a lot of power to pass if I want to. You know, I think I can quite happily take this up to 160 or you know, like 100 miles an hour. And it does just fine. And I can always strap a bag onto the sissy bar with a change of clothes in it, or you know, some wet weather gear if I'm going overnight and I'm not sure what it's going to be like. So for that, absolutely perfect. Now that comes to, what do I wish this bike could do a little bit better? And there's not much, if I'm honest with you, because I bought it understanding its limitations. I wish it had a sixth gear. I wish it had one more gear. As I said, on the highway it is nice, it's comfortable, it's not revving too high when you're cruising. You've still got plenty of range in the gear to wind out. But one more gear would be nice. I wish the engine was a little bit bigger. I wish it was around a 1400. Alright, I think that would be ideal. For what I do with it. Again, I'm just talking about what I do with it. I don't see many limitations with it, because I ride it within, you know, kind of what it was designed to do. However, as I start to have more time, as I start to go on some more journeys, as I start to do, you know, rather than overnight trips, I'm starting to do 2 and 3 days. Some on-bike storage would be nice. So some bags would be nice. I don't necessarily need a tow pack, but some bags would be nice. And as I said, a slightly larger engine and a 6th gear. Alright, so I think we've answered why did I buy it? Do I still like it? And I guess the third part of the question then is, if I could go back and do it again, would I make the same decisions? Would I buy this bike again? And I think the short answer is yes, I would. It's, as I said, it checks so many of the boxes, and the things that I would like to have, there are workarounds, you know, like, yes, I don't have bags, but I don't have saddlebags, but I can always strap a bag onto the sissy bar. I've got a rucksack that I can wear, you know, like, it's a workaround to the luggage thing. After the saddleman seat, and once the suspension is upgraded, I don't see a huge issue with longer range trips, other than the fact that I'll have to stop every 100 miles or 160 kilometers. Well, it's about 200 on the highway. For gas, all right, because the fuel range is reduced. But is that a deal breaker? No, it's not. Like, it's really not. So yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. The longer answer is, if I'd have known that I'd be getting into some longer range stuff 2 years ago, maybe, just maybe, I would have stretched the finances a little bit and gone for a lowrider S or a sport glide and put something like the quarter fairing on. This quarter fairing, by the way, has been the best money that I spent on this bike by a long way, like more so than the stage 1. Easily, it's a toss-up between either this, so it's a toss-up between either this and the seat as to what the best mod that I've done to it is. It's phenomenal at keeping the wind off. It really is. All right, there's no wind on my chest. I can feel a little bit at the top of my helmet when I'm at highway speed, but it is only a little bit. It's certainly not oppressive, it's not buffering, it's not knocking my head around. It's phenomenal. Best money that I spent, and I might do a video at some point about how to fit it, and you know, the difference between fitting this to a Sportster versus a Dyna, and kind of the additional equipment that you have to buy to do so. But yeah, I mean, what a great investment it's been. So yeah, I mean, like I said, would I buy it again? Yeah. Short answer is yes, long answer is probably yes. Even though I'm in the market for a new bike, a bigger bike, something I can do multi-day trips on, something that maybe I'll get down to Sturgis on, or Florida or Daytona or something like that, right? I won't sell this, I won't trade this in against it. This will just live in the garage, and I will still use this every single day through, you know, spring through fall as my commute. I think I would, it checks all of those boxes so well. So yeah, I mean, why did I buy it? Because it fit what I do really well. Do I still love it? Yes, I do. Probably more now than when I actually bought it. And would I buy it again? Yes, I would. Would I recommend it to people? Yes, I would. I would recommend it as a first cruiser. I would recommend it as a first bike. Maybe if you're or a bike for somebody that's returning to motorcycling, I would recommend it for a first bike for somebody that's a little bit bigger. All right, because although it's obviously it's not that powerful, you're not going to loop it or anything like that. It's still very much a torque first engine, but it is still £500. So, you know, something to think about. So the short, yeah. So the answers are yes. I still love it. Yes, I would buy it again, and yes, I would recommend it to other people. So listen, I think we'll wrap up now. But thanks for joining me on today's ride. This is my favourite ride. I love this. It's my favourite ride around the city. All right, it doesn't take too long. You get to see some great views. The only downside is there's traffic, right? But hey, can't win them all. So as I said, guys, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it very, very much. Like if you like the video, comment if you want to know something about the bike or the ride or where I'm from or whatever, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Whether you do all those things or not, again, guys, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate your time, and with that, I'll see you all later. Have a great one. See ya.